It's championship weekend on the Dynasty hot seat. We had to get a championship player on for championship weekend. So we got Kev, the Dynasty GOAT, back on. This is going to be one hell of a show. You do not want to miss it. Let's get going. Yes, here we are. Championship podcast, championship weekend. And I thought, who's definitely going to have lots of teams to talk about in a championship final? I tried to get Paul picking on. He doesn't have any. So we got that's not true. I'm sure he's got lots. We got Kev back at the show. Find him over on Twitter at Dynasty_GOAT. The first time, I think, Kev, you must hold the record now. I think you've been on the podcast more than anybody else. Was this like your fourth time on the podcast?
Fourth time, yeah. You've got it bang on there, Mags. Thanks for having us back, and lovely words to suggest that I've got lots of championship rosters. I've got a few, but I do play in a lot of leagues. But yeah, got a few nice tips to get us started, and just looking forward to a great show. We're limbered up. We're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. I will get into those championship rosters in a minute, but we'll just start with, championship weekend. Obviously, lots of people are going to be analyzing and studying and thinking once, thinking twice, thinking three times, about what to do with their rosters and who to start. And do you have any kind of tips for people if they're sitting right now wondering who's going to start before the Thursday night game kicks off?
Yeah, I've just got a couple of tips. The first one's a really simple one, and it's just don't overthink it. Stick to your process, follow your normal sort of lineup settings that you do. It is a habit that when you get close to the prize, you start to maybe falter a little bit and overthink it and try and do things a little bit different. But you've got this far by sticking to your process. Continue to do that, and hopefully the coin flip is in your favor this weekend. And then do you want me to carry on or?
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say you don't want to be Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl, right? Like, you don't want to overthink things. You don't want to throw an interception at the last hurdle. I mean, just, use what got you this far and, hand the damn ball to beast mode and just smash over the line, right? Don't get cute. Just, do what got you this far.
Exactly. That's exactly the point, Mags. And the second part is just regarding if you're playing in a lot of dynasty leagues, if you're a portfolio dynasty manager where you've got 20, 30 teams as such, maybe you're in 4 or 5 finals. If you get into a point where you've got a player that's starting in the majority of those games for you, maybe in the flex spot, something like that, and there's other options you've got that are projected to be of a similar range of outputs, it's best to hedge your bets and maybe start that guy in a couple of leagues rather than every league, because if he goes down injured, if he has a bad game, then you're potentially sinking a lot of rosters. The most likely spot's going to be your flex spot. It might be your super flex QB as well. We're not saying sort of, put McCaffrey on your bench because you've got him in 4 leagues, but if there's viable options available to you, hedge your bets and you're going to have less risk this weekend.
Yeah, I always think about players like maybe like a Gabe Davis, right? For that, you don't want to be starting Gabe Davis everywhere because he is, risky one way or the other. But you might want to hedge it and maybe decide to start Gabe Davis in one league above maybe like a DeAndre Hopkins, right? Even who's got a bad quarterback situation, like you might think, hey, you know what? I'll fire in Gabe Davis in one of my leagues and keep everything else separate. So yeah, I really like that as a tip as well. Don't get cute with things and try and steady everything. Is it a bad I don't know if this is bad advice. You'll let me know. So if you're in 5 finals, don't expect to win all 5, right?
I just feel that every playoff game is a coin flip. You're coming up against the best people in your league in that particular season. Even if you're a 60-40 favourite in, say, the two games, 60% in game one, 60% in game two. For you to win a ship in just thinking of the semis and the final, it's 36% chance. It's just over 1 in 3. So you've got to get lucky with the coin flips. If you're in 5 finals and you get 3, you've smashed it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think by diversifying a bit, you give yourself more of a chance to like win a couple of those finals, or where if you don't, you might go all in, you might go chips in, you might win all 5, but you could also win 0, which is a lot worse than winning like the opposite. I think the feeling of winning all 5 isn't quite worth it for the feeling of winning 0, because that's just crushing, right?
Yeah, don't get greedy, people.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go in and we'll dive into we'll actually go to your roster first, Kev, because my roster, I'm kind of letting it marinate a little bit, and hopefully, if everything goes perfectly for the show, we'll actually have a on-screen trade going through, because I've got about 4 trades sent out cooking. So we might actually see one appear as we're talking, which would be ideal. So we'll pop up your team first of all, Kev, and this is championship final roster. Of course it is from the Dynasty.
Yeah.
So do you want to run us through the team that you have got set up just at this moment in time then?
Yeah, so I'll give a bit of context to this team first. So you can see a little yellow ribbon there, which it means it won the ship last year. I'm going for the back-to-back. And
love it.
I have pushed the chips all in on this one with sort of the trades I've done, the win now trades, because I feel my window's now and I'm going to maximize that. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
When I move on to my team now, you'll notice that there's it's pretty empty.
Yes.
There's only one guy there, Ezekiel Elliott, and that's because he's playing tonight. I want to just get him in there out the way, and I know he's locked in. The other decisions I can sort of make close for time, but we'll go for it now. QB spot first of all. The viable options, you've got Geno Smith against the Jets, pretty tough defense.
Yeah.
You've got Tom Brady as well there against the Panthers at home. And Josh Allen on Tuesday night. Now, I mentioned earlier about diversifying your bets. I've got Josh Allen as a starter in another final, but I'm not benching him in this league because it's Josh Allen. He's projected to be the main man. So I'll be popping him into the QB spot. Well, actually, it'll be the Superflex spot because I've got a thing with doing it in date order, and he's a Tuesday night game, so he's got to be in the Superflex spot.
Yeah, I think that's generally like just a good practice to have, right? Because if he goes down injured, then you can replace him with a wider variety of players later on. Whereas if you have him in that QB slot and he goes injured, you have to put QB in there, but you might not have a spare one. So I think that's always what I would be doing as well. So I mean, I'm seeing little glimpses of this team, Kev. I'm loving what I'm seeing. So Josh Allen, great start in a quarterback. Are you wanting to do your QB2 now in the Superflex, or are you wanting to just work your way down through running backs?
Yeah, we'll keep it at QB, and my decision comes down to Geno Smith at home to the Jets or Tom Brady at home to the Panthers. Now, what I like to do in a one-off match is just have a quick look at the other team to see, sort of, is the players that maybe if I've got the QB, they've got a wide receiver. Is it sort of playing against each other, playing with a lot of averages that if the wide receiver goes off, I've got the QB. How do I want to do it? So this chap, it's got Leonard Fournette as a Bucs player, and nothing Seahawks wise.
Yeah.
So on this one, my thought process is it's a 50-50 game. This gentleman I'm facing, unfortunately, Derrick Henry's got injured, so maybe I'm a slight favourite in this game.
Yeah, so he obviously had Jalen Hurts as well there. Is he projected to play, Kev?
He's been throwing at today's practice, which is better than he was last week, but it's undecided at this stage. I'd quite like him to sit because he's on a few of my opponent's rosters, and I prefer for him not to play from a fantasy point of view. But I guess real life as an Eagles fan, if he's well enough to play, if he's not at risk of re-injury, then get him in there. So just thinking about the matchup itself, my thought process is if Leonard Fournette has a big game, it's probably on the back of the Bucks being in catch-up mode, which great for Tom
Yeah.
Brady's score, or it's because Brady's put them up with his arm to begin with. So I'm
Yes.
going to play it safe, take Tom Brady. Plus, you've got the fact that Geno Smith, he's playing a tough Jets defense. It is at home, but it's a tough defense. I'd prefer not to play against that. So I'm actually putting a player that's projected to score less points by sleeper in my starting lineup over someone that's projected slightly higher, which I know some people just trust the projections, but I'm not.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust it there as well. I think playing against the Jets, they've got a couple of injuries up in that sort of front line, but the secondary with like Sauce Gardner is unbelievably good. So I think it might be a bigger running game for the Seahawks rather than Geno throwing bombs. So I think you're absolutely spot on there with Tom Brady against Carolina. And who knows what you're going to get against the Panthers? I wouldn't be shocked if this was 40-0 either way. I have no idea what is going to happen in this game. But yeah, I think Brady's safe against the Panthers.
Indeed. So running back, I mentioned Ezekiel. It's in the starting lineup by default, really. Plus, it helps that Tony Pollard looks like he's going to miss time. And the Titans haven't got Derrick Henry. They're starting Josh Dobbs tonight. So you would expect the Cowboys to convincingly win Thursday Night Football. In terms of running back options, though, not got a huge amount on the bench. You've got Saquon Barkley, Gus Edwards, or Jeff Wilson. There's Antonio Gibson as well as questionable, but let's not beat around the bush. It's going to be Saquon Barkley that's going in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no... This is kind of the trap that you talked about. You don't want to overthink things here. You don't want to think, oh, well, Indiana, and Daniel Jones has been running it a bit more. Maybe it's like, just play Saquon Barkley, right? Like, you have to.
Indeed, you do. And then I'm going to take tight end next.
That looked like another clear choice.
I mean, there's Kelsey there. There's a couple of other decent guys that have helped in the flex a couple of times when I was a little bit weaker at wide receiver. There's Hayden Hurst and Juwan Johnson. But simple pick, tight end one in football. Travis Kelsey. Yeah,
Travis Kelsey. It's just... I mean, I know Kyle Pitts' nickname is the Unicorn, but... I mean, if Travis Kelsey isn't a unicorn, must be two unicorns, which is very rare, right? That guy is just unbelievable. He's like a cheat code, right? It's almost like, I can't remember who it was, but someone talked about, especially if it's like a tight end premium league. If you have Travis Kelsey, it's almost like you're allowed to start an extra player. He gets that many points.
He's literally like Donkey Kong, isn't he? He's just such a formidable beast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that man. And then we've got the 3 wide receiver spots and 2 flex spots as well, which even though this is a tight end premium league, half-point PPR, I want that to be filled with wide receivers, and it's going to be dictated that way as well. So, sort of guys, we've got Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen,
of course,
Curtis Samuel there, but he's probably not in consideration. Same with Paris Campbell. There's Deontay Johnson, Jerry Jeudy. So let's see, 1, 2. We'll just start from the top.
All right, so you've got a healthy amount of options there. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins up there first. Now, I'm worried about that, right? What are your thoughts about? I know DeAndre Hopkins is obviously, there's no worries about how good a player DeAndre Hopkins is, but I am worried about who's throwing him the ball. But then he does have a favorable matchup. Like the Falcons are pretty terrible, so that's a tricky one to balance.
Yeah, and the one thing I noticed is the person I'm facing, we've got Ridder as the opposite QB, and we've got James Conner as part of the offense. So I'm thinking a little bit similar to before. If I can hedge my bets, play Hopkins. If Ridder's going to have a big game, it's going to be coming from behind. Hopefully, you're banking on Hopkins doing that production early, or if Ridder has a good start, you've got the bringing it back late in the game sort of thing. So Hopkins feels like a smash spot to play in there as a safe option. Might not be the best QB, but sure to get by on volume alone. So
you'd really hope so, right?
Fingers crossed, yeah. And you mentioned the matchup with the Falcons. It's a pretty nice one indeed.
Yeah.
I guess next up you've got Keenan Allen, which he's been on fire recently. He usually has terrible ends to the season. When he had that game where he said, "Don't sit me" in semi-finals week a couple of years back, and I didn't sit him, and he got like 1.4 points or something like that, which was horrible. And he had a bad fantasy playoffs last year, but he came good last week in the first ship I won in week 16. But interesting thing here, it says it's got like a wind icon here, so maybe I need to speak to Matt. But I know this game is a dome game. It's in LA. Maybe Sleeper's got that wrong.
Yeah, surely. We'll have to consult the official weatherman of the NFL, right?
Matt the weatherman. So it's a smash spot. Keenan Allen's going to start. He's
absolutely agree.
Let's get him in there.
Yeah, Keenan Allen is coming good just at the right time, actually. Yeah, because you maybe a few weeks ago you would have been a bit worried about Keenan Allen there, but yeah, he's really coming on really well there. So gotta love him sliding in there. And we got one more wide receiver to slot in, right?
So it's down to sort of Judy, Deontay Johnson, Paris Campbell, Curtis Samuel, Adam Thielen. I think based on the game type that Judy's playing at the Chiefs, I'd expect the Chiefs to convincingly put up points on a defense, Denver defense that what did he get 50 put on it by the Rams this week on Monday Night Football. Yeah. So I think Judy's got to be the key spot to plug in there. One thing I would do as well is one thing I would do there is, because he's questionable, and I do this for all my lineups, is I make a little note of people that's in my starting lineup that's questionable, and also have a plan as to which player I will move to if they can't go. It just makes it easy if you're in 20, 30 leagues checking on a Sunday at 5 p.m. UK time. It just makes it easier to go in and think, right, I need to look for this guy in this league, and the move is going to be to this person. Just makes it a lot quicker than trying to scramble last minute when you're in that many leagues.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And Judy, I was going to mention actually, Judy had obviously a really, really good game last week, but the last time Judy played against the Chiefs as well, he had another really strong game. So he's starting to become like a real focal point and kind of the clear kind of wide receiver one there as Courtland Sutton kind of fades a little bit into the background. So I think Jerry Judy is a good play there for championship final weekend. So that's your 3 wide receivers locked in. You got how many flex spots you got to fill?
It's 2 flex to fill.
Okay.
So yeah, it's. I think first of all, going to go Adam Thielen because it's a team that I run, and I like Adam Thielen.
Absolutely.
So he's got to be in there. He's pretty boom bust. He's touchdown dependent, but he's got a pretty decent record against the Packers over the years. It's in Green Bay as well, so you'd expect that. Maybe Green Bay are more favoured at home than if it was on the road in Minnesota. Weather conditions might be not as great as in the dome at Mini, but I don't think it'll be a problem for a seasoned veteran like Adam Thielen.
No, I would say not. And it's going to be probably a high-scoring game because all the Vikings games this year have been just
crazy,
unbelievable watching. So, yeah, I think Thielen's a good shot in there. And the last one is probably the trickiest one to fill, right? Especially because one of them's Monday Night Football. It's like, do you want to wait until and then, it's hard. So who's standing out to you there? Deontay Johnson obviously is there as an option. Antonio Gibson is there, but he's kind of been faded a little bit. And is anyone else standing out? There was one more. I can't remember who it was. There was one more person that was standing out to me.
Yeah, there's Jeff Wilson as well that's been hit and miss. He flashed a little bit last week. I believe the guy I'm facing, I might have this wrong, he's playing Raheem Mostert.
Oh, yeah.
Playing Raheem. So maybe if I wanted to just play safe and hope that it's not a running back fest, Like, obviously, Teddy Bridgewater was meant to start this weekend. If I was just going to play it safe, I could maybe stick Jeff Wilson in there and just say, you know what, that's me sticking Jeff Wilson. But I think with the lineup I've got and what I'm facing, I think I've done a lot of where I'm picking a player to sort of tell a story and defend myself and play it safe. I think at this point in the flex, we've got Adam Thielen, who, he's pretty boom bust as such. We're touchdown dependent. Maybe I want to go for a guy that's going to get more volume. I think Deontay Johnson's the pick here, just based on it's championship week. I'm playing against the best team in the league. I'd probably pick Deontay Johnson if it was week 1 or week 6 or week 17 as it is now. So I'm not going to get too cute and play Jeff Wilson to try and defend myself. It's going to be Deontay Johnson, just with the caveat that if it gets to, because he's the late game on Sunday into early Monday, with a caveat to check on Friday's injury report. Yeah. If he's still on the injury report, then he's a genuine game time decision. I'll have to make that move Sunday to move to Jeff Wilson. I don't want to be in a spot where I'm having to try and trade or get someone off waivers on Sunday night to fill that spot.
Because I think you've got maybe Gus Edwards there that could fill it if worse comes to worse, but you don't really want to be trusting Gus Edwards to win you a championship.
Exactly. Gus Edwards or a questionable Hayden Hurst. It's far from ideal.
Yeah, so absolutely.
That's the
so let's run down this hopefully soon to be back-to-back championship winning team. So let's hear from quarterback then.
Yeah, so you got Tom Brady, QB. You've got Josh Allen, Superflex. Running backs, Zeke, Saquon. Wide receivers, Hopkins, Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy. You've got the man himself, Donkey Kong, Travis Kelce at tight end. And then we've got the man himself, Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson in the flex. And based on projections,
love it.
I'm a 30-point favourite, so yeah, it's
pretty
looking in a good spot. Obviously, there can be moves made by this gent before the weekend, but we'll just have to see. We finished on the same record. He was actually the 1 seed. I was the 2, so it's going to be a fine matchup regardless of what the projections say.
That's one of my, I think whenever you're looking down at your opponent's roster, right? So you're scrolling down, you're like, okay, Brady, whatever. And then you get to the Superflex and you see Josh Allen there. You're like, oh. It's just
that hidden surprise.
Just a little gut punch right at the end. You're like, oh, that's not Joe Flacco filling in for the Jets and Superflex. It's always that little gut punch at the end, having Mahomes or a Josh Allen in at Superflex. So that'll tease your opponent too, which is getting mind games started already.
Yeah, and I like to do it in date and time orders to the games. I know some players like to just have the best players in the lineup, and then as it gets further and further down, the weaker players. But yeah, it's nice to have a little cheeky surprise at the bottom of the roster there in Josh Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's pull this roster away, and we're going to have a little look at my roster here. I don't think there's been any trades gone through. No, I've DM'd people, telling them to check their DMs, tagging people, check your DMs, please. So I'm hoping there will be a trade go through. As you can see, there are 3 currently out there. I actually accidentally set a trade out to the guy I was playing in the final. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize I was playing you. And he's like, yeah, I did think that was a bit weird. Obviously, I'm not going to trade you any players. So I quickly got rid of that one. So we got 3 trades out. And you can probably guess what I'm trying to do here, because you see my lineup from last week. I had Patrick Mahomes, I had Brock Purdy, I had Derrick Henry. So
the man.
I just need to move off him. I did a little quick YouTube short video today, and it was all about how everyone's talking about you should replace Derrick Henry with this player or this player or this player, and the real truth is you can't replace Derrick Henry. You have to change your strategy. You're not going to get Hassan Haskins coming in and scoring Derrick Henry numbers. That is not happening. So you need to completely change your strategy, go out and trade for someone, or start riskier type of players instead of Derrick Henry to kind of boost up and try and find those points. And it might burn up in your face, but you at least, you try to make up for it. So I'll run you through the rest of the team and then we can chat, and maybe we'll have a trade go through live on the air, which would be
wow,
cool.
excitement.
Wow, I know. So we had this cute 2-quarterback league here. We got Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy. We got Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins in at running back. 3 receivers with Gabe Davis, T. Higgins, and Devonta Smith, and then 2 tight ends. So it's a bit of an unusual build league. So T.J. Hawkinson and Dallas Goedert in at tight end, and then 2 flex spots as well with Michael Pittman Jr. And I had Daniel Bellinger in as my second flex spot last week. Now, I think that was a hedging bet kind of moment as well, because I think in this league I have Devonta Foreman, and Devonta Foreman burned me real bad the week before. So I kind of took him out of a couple of leagues, and I put in Bellinger because he had a good matchup, I think, last week. But it worked out just fine. So I don't think I'll be starting him this week, though, but we'll have a look and see. Let's start up with quarterback then. And Patrick Mahomes, we're probably not going to be touching Patrick Mahomes up against the Broncos. Should be doing very well. Brock Purdy has been absolutely brilliant. Like, I cannot speak highly enough of Brock Purdy. He's been so solid coming in. Got a great matchup up against the Raiders, who I think they've just stopped playing from what I can see. They've given up a little bit. So hopefully Max Crosby will continue to have a quiet one and not get too close to Brock Purdy. But let's see if I have any replacements available. I do. I've got 2 possible options. One is Mac Jones up against the Miami Dolphins, and the other is Davis Mills, who's part of a quarterback committee, which is an interesting thing. I'm loving it from the Texans. I absolutely love it, but it doesn't make him a viable fantasy option at the moment, Davis Mills. So it's between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones. I'm leaning Brock Purdy. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Brock Purdy's done an amazing job since he came in. It's literally like Jimmy G 2.0, the sense for system QB, pocket passer, does everything you want from a coaching point of view, I guess. It's going to be a thorn in the side of Trey Lance owners, I feel. But I think it's, depending on how the playoffs go, if Purdy takes them deep, then Trey Lance owners have got to be worried going into next season. If he gets into a championship game or a Super Bowl, then they're not just going to hand over the reins to Lance, even though they've got that much invested in him. So he's done fantastically well. Like you mentioned, he's in a great spot. He's against a team that's just benched Derek Carr, starting Jarrett Stidham. You'd expect them to control the game. Yeah. There might be a limit to his upside with them beating up on the Raiders, but I think when you've got the option of Mac Jones, he's someone facing a Miami team without Tua. They're potentially going to be playing from ahead. Similar to the 49ers will be. So in that respect, similar situations, I'd be taking a guy that's done more for fantasy recently, which is Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. And I think, Derek Carr has been benched to kind of actually protect him, because the last thing he needs right now is to be playing Nick Bosa and the rest of those 49ers. Like, I think that's been done to be like, right, Derek, like, have a week off, mate. Like, you've had a rough old time of it, so take a week off. So we'll keep Brock Purdy in as our quarterback. And this is kind of the main thing here. We've got Derrick Henry, who obviously is not going to play, sadly. So we got to take him out. Now, trades I've put out, I am trying to acquire Ezekiel Elliott. I'm trying to acquire more people. Let me just double check for you, just so I'm definitely sure on who I'm trying to get. One of them is definitely Zeke, because I know Tony Pollard obviously is out. So I thought Zeke would be a good one to have. The other one is Dalvin Cook. The third one, bit of a long shot at Christian McCaffrey. So those are the 3 people I'm trying to give up Derrick Henry for. I don't actually think I'm giving up Derrick Henry for Zeke. I think I'm trying to work something with Antonio Gibson for Ezekiel Elliott. But we'll see if anything comes through. But for now, we'll work with what we got. We got to take Derrick Henry out. And these are the options. Madison, Gibson, Bolden, Foreman, who we mentioned earlier, Dallas, Dearness Johnson, Ty Johnson, and Khalil Herbert, who's back. Yeah. For me, there seems to be just one kind of option there, which is Deontay Foreman. Are you seeing anything else, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this will depend on the trades you've got out there, and hopefully one of those can hit. I think, just speaking from a dynasty point of view on Henry, it's going to be so hard to move off him at this stage because in any season, there's about 4 teams that might fit for Derrick Henry as someone that would want to win now, running back of that age. At this point in the year, I'd find it very hard for any team to take him anything less than a disgusting value for you. So I'd be going Donta Foreman. He's essentially a lesser version of Derrick Henry as a touchdown dependent guy. The Bucks isn't a great matchup, but I think purely on volume alone, you'd have to hope he could get close to double-digit figures. And if he hits touchdown, then he's going to be passable. But like you said, trades are going to be important, and maybe when it comes to your flex spots, you might have to go a little bit riskier, but it'll just depend on what options you've got when we get there.
Yeah, absolutely right. And yeah, hopefully one of those guys will come through. And I have sort of put out a little message as well, being like, oh, I've put a few trades out there, like, it could get accepted first. Like, don't try not to hang about, because sometimes that gets people to like jump and like bite a little bit sooner. So you may never know. We might.
And the thing is,
might get
that does work though as well, Max, because when I was trying to trade for Saquon in a league, there was another Win Now team that had basically put in the group chat, I've DM'd you. It was actually T-Strack, our good friend. He put DM for Matt from Wildcat Dynasty, and Matt had Saquon. I was talking with Matt. Once I'd seen the message going that he'd got a DM, and I had an offer waiting to accept it, I had to take it then, because I thought, I'm not losing out Saquon.
No.
And funny story is, full circle, me and Tom are playing in the final, so if Saquon's the difference, it's that split decision that's probably kept him off his roster and put him on mine that's done it.
Yeah, whenever you're on for your 5th time on the hot seat, if there's a big shiny trophy sitting behind you, we all know what happened, right? So we'll have to wait and see. That should be a great matchup too. Couldn't think of 2 more deserving guys in the final, so I'll be keeping a close eye on that one. And obviously, I'll let you guys get in the final this year. I didn't want to steal anyone's thunder. Next year, I'm coming for that. So let's get Foreman in now and stick with him. J.K. Dobbins, you taking J.K. Dobbins out for any of those other guys there? Or you think we gotta roll with J.K.?
I think we're good with J.K. on this one.
Yeah, I think so. And let's have a look then at some of the. Oh my God, I've just seen how many like Monday night players. This is going to be nerve-wracking. So we've got Gabe Davis, T. Higgins, and Devonta Smith, who has been killing it lately. He's like got me into so many like finals, thankfully, because he's just been absolutely crushing it lately. So let's see if we do want to take any of these guys out. We'll start with Gabe Davis, probably the one I trust the least out of these 3. So the other options are, we got Michael Pittman Jr., who's in the flex spot, or we could put in Julio Jones, Mims, no. Zay Jones, who has been really quite good the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel is there, as is Elijah Moore, or Khalil Shakir's there, but yeah. And anybody there you think we should be taking Gabe Davis out, Gabe Davis up against the Bengals, and putting in any of these players here, or what are you thinking there, Kev?
I think at this stage, I'd probably move Pittman up into his spot. I feel more comfortable about Pittman's volume and volatility for this week. It's likely that Gabe Davis is going to still make it in your flex spots based on you needing a couple of those, but going with the best 3 guys in the top 3 spots while we're doing the lineup.
Yeah, I think Pittman, Higgins, and Smith. That's a real nice like core starting wide receiver trio there. I'm a big fan of that, and that's kind of going to get better as years go by as well. They're all kind of the same kind of age, so that'll be nice to have on this team going forward. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with those 3. I've got 2 tight ends I need to start, and I mean, apart from Donkey Kong himself, these are the 2 that I want pretty much, even ahead of Mark Andrews at the minute. I want TJ Hawkinson, who's tight end number 2 on the year ahead of Mark Andrews. And I want Dallas Goedert, who has, I was actually quite worried about Dallas Goedert before because the Eagles have got so many passing options, but he's proven himself to be a really, really good option. Playing up against New Orleans now as well, I think Goddard might see a lot of work because you're going to have Marshall Lattimore like sniffing around the wide receivers, so Goddard might be a safer kind of option. But I've got some inside information here. I've got an Eagles fan on the show. Should I be avoiding Goddard here? What do you think?
I mean, Goddard, he had his first game back from IR last week against the Cowboys. He had a pretty solid week with everything sort of weighed up and baked in there. I know the Saints have got a top defense against tight ends. Might be the best in the league, but I think at this stage of season, you don't want to be sitting your studs. I think Goddard is a stud. Before he went down injured, he was outproducing TJ Hawkinson in fantasy points per game. So really underrated season. If he played the full amount, people will be gushing over him. So they're going to be the main 2, unless you've got a hidden gem like Travis Kelce on your bench. I can't see.
I mean, hold on. Let me just. I'll cross my fingers and we'll see. I'll say a little prayer. No, got Jack Stoll. I've got Cole Kmet actually. Oh. That's not a bad little stash. You play up against the Detroit Lions. That is something to think about actually. So Cole Kmet is there up against the Lions, who just leak points. Okay, Cole Kmet. I think, would you be putting Cole Kmet in ahead of Goddard or Hawkinson?
No, I'm definitely those 2.
Yeah, I think so. But Cole Kmet, nice to have him there. He probably helped me a lot whenever Goddard was out, actually. So shout out to Cole Kmet. What a nice man. And then we've got our flex spots there. Gabe Davis, who we just moved down earlier, is there, and Daniel Bellinger sitting in there too. You thinking we get rid of Bellinger here? That's kind of what my instinct is going to, knock out Bellinger and put in somebody else. Like, who are you thinking here?
Yeah, it is a tough one because there's 2 guys that stand out to me.
Yes,
Zay Jones is a clear one. I think he's got the Texans maybe at home, or Texans away. Sorry, in the dome.
In the dome, yep.
And then the other one is Cole Kmet. Like, I know the Lions are terrible against tight end. I think he had a big game against them earlier on in the season. I know that our good friend Tom, NFL and Scott T-Strack, he's done an article on DFS this week and he's highlighting Fields. He's highlighting Cole Kmet as well as people to be on this week. So yeah, I guess it's between those 2 for me. It might depend on your matchup. If, let's say, the guy you're facing's got Fields or Trevor Lawrence or something like that, or then that could decide it. But
let's have a peek then, will we? He's got Joe Burrow and he's got Kirk Cousins in a quarterback. So
there's ETN. Really. That's an interesting one.
Oh, that's a good Hendershot. That's not going to stay, surely. And I've been quite lucky as well. He's got Jalen Hurts down there on the bench, so been quite lucky there. So he's got Travis Etienne in there, so that could factor in. Do I play Zay Jones or not? If he's playing Etienne, my gut instinct is telling me go with Zay Jones, but I feel like will I regret that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the guy he faces has got ETN, he's got Montgomery as well, so it kind of negates which side you would go. With this looking like non-tight end premium, I'd be hitting Zay Jones. I think even if it was a small tight end premium, ideally you want to have wide receivers in your flex, unless they're a top 6 tight end. So I'll lean Zay Jones for the win.
Yeah, I think I'm doing the same. And yeah, I know, Detroit are bad against the tight end. I mean, Houston are bad against tight end, bad against receiver, bad against quarterback, bad against the running back. So yeah, Houston are just all around bad. So hopefully Zay Jones can have himself a good day there. So no trades have gone through, have they? No, nothing. Sad. I thought we were going to get some live on air trades. So hopefully again we'll get something before these guys play. But let's have a final look down at the team that will be playing for championship here. We got Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL, up at the top. We got Brock. We got Brock Purdy beside him, the second best quarterback in the NFL, Brock Purdy, just below Patrick Mahomes. We got Deonta Foreman, who's in there, J.K. Dobbins in there as well, alongside Michael Pittman Jr., T. Higgins, Devonta Smith in at the wide receiver positions with T.J. Hawkinson and Dallas Goedert. Then we have Gabe Davis and we have Zay Jones, who I'm just going to flick in here just so we got, look at that, Kev. You happy now? Look at that. We got it done in time order with Davis and Higgins. So I have a funny feeling I might be up early Tuesday morning, Monday night, watching that Buffalo-Cincinnati game. I reckon a lot of people will be actually considering the talent and the fantasy talent that's on view there. It's going to be a lot of anxious early morning Mondays for people in the UK, or just, I don't know, what time is that in America? Just like a regular time for non-psychopaths to watch like a sport, right?
Yeah, I think it's 8:30. But you mentioned earlier about getting that risk over with Derrick Henry not being there. I think the fact that you've got two guys to finish it in a game head-to-head, Davis and Higgins. Davis has got that ceiling. We've seen Higgins have explosive games. And the fact that they're playing each other, if that's a shootout, that's mega. If it's a low-scoring game, that's going to really hurt you as well. So I think it is a risky play having both of those on this particular lineup, but it's the right play because you're playing to win. There's no better options. And yeah, imagine if you're 40 points down going into that game and those two bring it home. You'll be telling grandkids and everything.
It's going to be so nerve-wracking because I think the guy I'm playing, does he have Joe Burrow? So it's going to really mess with my head. I don't know what I want to happen. So we'll just, hopefully all will be fine and everything will be wrapped up before we even get to that game. So let's pull that game away and let's get us back up here. And that's the end of the show, folks. Hopefully, you all have got your lineups nice and set and ready to go for championship weekend. Hopefully you're in some of those championship games, and next time we see each other, you'll have that little yellow ribbon next to your name, just like Kev did in that league. So Kev, just one more time, wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you want to just remind everyone where can they find you online?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us on, Mags. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to get my NFL ball for my next experience, Big Five. Yes. But you can follow me on Twitter at Dynasty_Go. I'm part of Fantasy Wildcard at Fantasy Wildcard. Do the Dynasty show, Wildcard Dynasty, part of that network. So just thanks for having us on. Give us a follow. I do occasionally post something quite funny and useful. But
he does.
But yeah, main thing is the podcast, Fantasy Wildcard. Just give us a follow. I'm sure you do already because Mags is a good lad. But yeah, thanks for having us on, and best of luck in your coin flips this weekend.
Absolutely, and thanks again everyone for listening. Yeah. Best of luck, and hey, no matter what happens, win, lose, draw, imagine that. Wow. Just remember, keep yourselves and your team lit. I will see you next week. Bye.